When the sun lowers toward the horizon and the sky turns black, when lines blur and things are not exactly what they seem, when the normal makes way for the strange and unexplained, it's time to question what is natural and what lies beyond our understanding. It's time to enter the edge of the unknown with your host, Mark Henry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frank Miller, my big voice guy here, always introducing me to the All One Broadcast Radio Network each and every Sunday night. I appreciate his silky smooth stylings, and he's the gentleman that I prefer to give me my opens, my closes, my commercials, any production that I need. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Frank in the next couple of weeks. But a terrific guy here. I used to work with him at WECK, and he is kindly enough to still stick by Mark Henry's side as I take you to the edge of the unknown. That's right, folks. It is the edge of the unknown on this glorious St. Paddy's Day evening. It's funny, I actually put something up on my Facebook page earlier today, and just to be a smart guy, to be a wise guy, because everybody goes out for the parades and everybody gets all crazy and having a great time. And actually, it was a little poem, and maybe I'll read it to you a little bit later in the show. But just everybody remember, St. Paddy's Day is actually tomorrow, and it's not Patrick, it's Patty, it's Padraig. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later on too. See, I'm an elitist, I'm a jerk, I'm a slime. I'm Polish and Irish, and that means, according to my father, that means that I'm happy, but I don't know why. So maybe that's something else we can explore as we continue on the edge of the unknown. In Buffalo, St. Paddy's Day is a huge event. It is a very, very big deal. There's a couple of different parades. There's one in the old First Ward, which is right downtown Buffalo. The other side of downtown Buffalo, which is a little bit to the north, had their parade today. It's a blast. It was a little bit chilly today. I didn't make either of the parades, but I did stay home, and I did make potato and leek soup, and I did make shepherd's pie for the wonderful and beautiful Mrs. Henry. So that was my little bit. I love doing it. I love making shepherd's pie. It's such a great dish to make all year round. I've got my own way of doing it. I've got my own way of making potato and leek soup. And yeah, so anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful St. Paddy's Day, and or a precursor to, and hopefully you'll have a safe one throughout the rest of the night as I take you up until 10 o'clock. Great guest coming up for you this evening. We're going to have a excellent show as always, but I want to get a couple of things out next week. A very special show, something that I have not done since my tenure here on the All One Broadcast Radio Network has played out. Medium Julie MacDonald is going to be spending a couple of hours with me. And we've been talking about doing this, and normally I don't have other folks from other shows that are on this network on. She was goodly enough to have me on her show about a month ago, and I said, you know what? It's high time to return the favor. We are going to have a blast. If you're not familiar with medium Julie MacDonald, her show is from 8 to 10 on Wednesdays right here on allonebroadcast.com. She also has a show on Monday evening called oh my gosh, it just ran right out of my head, and somebody's going to be yelling at me. Oh my gosh, she's going to kill me too. And now I'm going to have to run real quick and go over there and look and make sure that I don't screw this up, because Broken Wings. I was going to say Channeling Wings, but then there's Channeling Love. And please forgive me. There's a million shows that we have here on All One Broadcast. But Julie MacDonald does Broken Wings Radio on Monday nights. She is awesome. She's going to be my guest next week. We've got a lot of really cool guests coming up. We're going to be talking about angels and angelic guidance with Be Divine in the next couple of weeks. Also, Paratus of Demonology and Exorcism, Adam Bly, is going to kick off the month of April with me here on The Edge of the Unknown. But again, stuff out of the way, let's get right into the show. If you are listening to us on allonebroadcast.com, please click the button that says Live Chat Room. You can interact with me in that chat room. You can interact with the other folks who are listening live, streaming it from that website, and have a decent conversation going there. If you have a specific question, I ask that you hit the private chat button with me in mind, so I get that question directly to me, and it doesn't get lost in the chat room, because unfortunately it scrolls up and I might miss it, and if I have to go back to see it and somebody else asks a comment or has a comment or asks a question, it will get lost in the shuffle. So please just send that question directly directly to me. I appreciate if you do that. You can give us a ring if you would so be inclined this evening. 717-298-7460. The phone line is always open for your questions and comments. And again, if you have something that you want to share, we would love to hear from you. So always remember to use that phone line. theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com is the email address, and you can always find me on Facebook, Edge of the Unknown just be Edge of the Unknown Radio Show. I need to change that because that just sounds bulky. Edge of the Unknown Radio Show. Well, we'll work on that too. After I get done making a fool of myself with everybody who's going to yell at me that St. Paddy was not really Irish and he was actually probably French and whatever. Anyway, we're going to get past that and get right into the show this evening. It is my pleasure to introduce a very unique person to the Edge of the Unknown. She is a psychic medium. I like to refer to her as a sensitive. She has written a wonderful book called Infinite You. We're going to talk a little bit more about the other projects that she's working on throughout the rest of the night. But I had her on because we're going to talk a little bit tonight about auras. It's something that has always fascinated me. It is something that I think that everyone does have an aura. You might have the science side and the skeptic side say, well, that's baloney. But you know what? Perhaps not. Perhaps we all do have an aura that others can see, whether we want to call it personality, whether we want to call it something else, label it what you want to label it. We all have something that emanates from us as human beings. It is my pleasure to welcome in Pam Oslie to the Edge of the Unknown. Pamela, thank you so much for hanging out with me on a Sunday evening.
Mark, thank you so much for inviting me to hang out with you. You're a lot of fun.
And tell everybody what it's doing in your neck of the woods as far as weather.
Oh, really? You really want to bring that? Can you hear the birds singing in the background? It's Santa Barbara. It's beautiful blue sky out, and it was in the 80s today. So I am so sorry for people that have to shovel out from snow still, but it's coming. Don't worry, spring and summer are coming.
We had bright sunshine here today. It was a little bit colder than it was yesterday, but I had the cardinals in the backyard of my house. So once you hear birds chirping and singing, then we know we're on the ramp to get out of, and honestly, the last few winters we've had have been pretty mild. They've been pretty tame. This past one has been unbelievable. It's just 2 blizzards in 1 year is never happened here in Western New York. But hey, we'll all pretend that we're in Santa Barbara with our feet up and speaking with you. So what are you up to right now? Let's talk a little bit about what you've got going on, and then we'll delve more into the topic of auras and all the other stuff that we want to talk about tonight.
Okay, well, geez, lots of stuff going on. My latest book just came out, as you mentioned, Infinite You. I've got my own radio show. I've got my website that has tons of stuff on it, including a quiz on there so people can take a free little quiz and find out what their aura colors are. So there's lots of projects going on right now, always.
So what is the best way to find you online?
The website is lifecolorscity.com, and then they can go on there, and there are videos, there are every kind of information about your aura colors, about parallel universes, about psychic abilities or intuitive, whatever it's all on there, including how to get in touch with me if you want a private session. I have quite a long waiting list, but otherwise you can get on the list and we'll have a great time.
And that's what we're also going to delve into tonight. I don't want anybody out there to think that we're going to speak about auras for a couple of hours. We want to talk about the multiverse. We want to talk about, and I actually woke up this morning with a question that we'll get into about auras in the multiverse. But again, if you out there listening to this here radio program want to get on board, 717-298-7460. The Edge of the Unknown at gmail.com, Edge of the Unknown Radio Show on Facebook, at Edge the Unknown on Twitter. Pam Oslie is my guest, so let's talk a little bit about your background now. How did you get involved? How did you get interested in the paranormal, and how did you learn that you might have an ability that was a little bit different from something else that anybody else might have as far as being an athlete? You might have had a different way of approaching your life and not necessarily be somebody who's, I want to play football, but geez, I'm really interested in the paranormal.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, when I was growing up, I always thought I was going to either be a performer or do creative things, like be a performer or a helper, a counselor, a teacher, somebody that helped other people. Then I found out later, of course, that matches my aura colors. But I started out in the educational field and working with kids that had challenges, and then I got into the rock and roll business. I was working in rock and roll concert promotions, and then I was running concert facilities. And I went one night to hear a psychic speak. Now, I graduated from a Christian college, so you don't. But I've always been a rebel, so that's not something you're supposed to do, right? When you graduate from a Christian college. But no, I don't follow the rules. So I went to hear a psychic speak, and I walked into the room, a whole bunch of people in there, and he pointed at me and he said, "You up here, you know how to do this work too." And I went, "Excuse me, I think you've got the wrong person." Anyway, he dragged me up in front of the group that night and said, "Look, you've been asking to go to the next level," because that's me. I always like to push the boundaries. I like to see what's possible. I like to know who we really are. And I've always been spiritual, not always religious, but spiritual. And so I got up in front of the room that night and discovered that I was actually picking up specific details about people, like that one woman was pregnant. She didn't even know she was pregnant. I saw the spirit of a little girl standing next to her. She went to the doctor shortly after that, found out she was pregnant, and she did end up having a little girl. I know a woman was struggling with an old beat-up green car because I could see the image of that car next to her, and she's like, "Oh, my gosh," and that was right. So for I first started doing intuitive, I don't even know what word to use it anymore, Mark. We have to come up with an expanded consciousness, intuitive, sensitive, psychic, whatever. I did that for the first year. As soon as people found out that I did that night, boy, did I get inundated with people going, do me, you need to read me. What do you see for me? You know how people love that.
Sure.
And so I did that for a year, and then I met a woman who could see auras, and she thought everybody could see auras. She was well into her 40s before she realized that not everyone was seeing auras. So I would bring her up to Santa Barbara and presented workshops with her, and noticed that what she was describing about a certain color's personality was the same thing I was picking up about people psychically. So after working with her for a while, I would go, "Okay, that's a blue. Okay, that's a green. All right, I get it. I understand that now." And so shortly after working with her, I developed the ability to be able to psychically tell what somebody's aura colors were. And then within a year, I developed the ability to be able to see them. So that's basically how I got thrown in the water. But I've always been interested in things that, just that are outside the box, or
Sure.
Who are we really and what are we capable of doing. So that was just part of the journey.
I think it's interesting when you say you had to develop, some skills to hone what you were feeling and where you were, pulling your information from, whether it was looking at someone or otherwise.
Right.
I think a lot of times folks have an ability that they're not even aware of, and then capitalize on that by being able to sharpen that skill.
Agreed. You know what, Mark? I know a lot of people call what I do a gift. I believe that life is a gift, and that all of these abilities that we'll talk about today, being able to go in and out of parallel universes, see other lives, talk to people on the other side, all of those abilities are natural for every being on the planet. It's just that some people are going to choose to develop them. Some people will be better at it than others, just like some people are better musicians or writers or athletes than other people. It doesn't mean that all of us can't learn to, run around the track. It's just that some people are really good at it. So it's a natural ability that all of us have, which is what my goal is, to help people expand, because these abilities actually increase love and compassion and freedom and joy. And so many people are afraid of them, or they think that they can't do it. Other people, and some people don't even believe that anyone can do it, but we can.
Sure.
I've been doing this now for 30 years, so I know it's possible. But I see it evolving in the consciousness, Mark. I really see more and more people starting to recognize, synchronicity, or that they had a feeling of something, whatever they want to call it. But it's the telepathy that's, we're definitely getting more telepathic just even with our technology. So I see it actually increasing on the planet.
I want to ask you this, and let's start with the hard questions now. We're already a few minutes into the show, right? But when we're talking about these abilities, does everyone have an inherent ability to see something like an aura? Do we all have the ability to be telepathic, or is it like as I kind of mentioned before? I've always had this feeling, and then there's other people who I don't feel that way at all.
Right. Yes. So let me see, back to your question. So are we all capable of being telepathic, and are we all capable of seeing auras? Yes. Some of the colors, like you have some violet in your aura. Violets are usually the first ones because they come from the third eye. They're the first ones that usually can see things, or they see flashes of light out of their peripheral vision. They can see things. Yellows, and I believe you have some yellow in your aura too, Mark, but yellows are more kinesthetic. They feel it in their body. So a lot of yellows become healers, or they can be by somebody and go, I don't like that person's energy, and pull away, or they can walk into a room and feel it. So some colors are visual. Some aura color people are more kinesthetic. Some are very logical and analytical. So those are the ones that have the more challenging time developing these abilities because they stick to logic so much. But all of us have the ability.
We got a question actually that just came through the live chat room. So if you're listening at allonebroadcast.com, I encourage everybody to click on the button that says live chat room. We're going to get to that in a second. But so how is it that people wake up to the idea that they might have an ability like this? And how do they get more just guidance into having that ability? Because I'm sure a lot of people might see or feel or a lot of the things that we talk about on this show, but kind of just brush it off as saying, well, no, that was deja vu, or, well, no, I really didn't understand that, or, oh, that wasn't really real. It could have just been a waking dream. How do people make that jump from, I feel this, I see this, how can I make this stronger?
Well, that's a great question. So first of all, if anyone wants to develop these abilities, number one, the very first thing is they have to believe it's possible. If somebody believes something's not possible, they're not even going to go for it. They're not going to try it. They're not even going to open up their minds. It's the same thing if somebody believed it wasn't possible to drive a car. They're not going to get in a car and sit behind the wheel if they don't believe they're capable of driving a car. So number one, you have to believe that it's possible, and it's possible for you to develop it, not just everybody else or some people, but not you. Number two, you have to be willing. This is really important. You have to be willing to develop these abilities. So many people are afraid of it. They're afraid they're going to see something or feel something or be overwhelmed or see something that they're afraid of or see something that they shouldn't or see something that might scare them. Or they've been raised with some belief system that it's like bad or evil if you do it. So they have to be willing to develop them. If you're not willing, obviously you're going to block it. And then the third thing is, and this is one of the hardest ones for most people in the Western society, and that's the willingness to be quiet, to be still, to still the mind, because you have to let room for another aspect of your consciousness to arrive, not just all the chatter. Because we're so bombarded with information and technology and, the internet and television and, just so much information out there that if people don't know how to be quiet, they won't allow for these abilities to emerge. And then the fourth one is to really trust when they do get something. If somebody just senses something, you're exactly right. They tend to push it off like, oh, that was just my imagination, or that was a coincidence, or, that was an accident. I can't really do it again. So they have to trust when they do start sensing or feeling things. And then the all-important, which is important with everything that we do and have learned, is practice. The fifth one is practice. And we've learned how to walk, talk, write, drive a car, eat, everything by practicing that. So once you do all those other stages and you open up these abilities, you have to be willing to practice it and to pay attention to it. And then the last one is to actually acknowledge when you do get something right. Because again, even if you practice it and you discount it every time, like, nah, that was just that'll never happen again, and that was a fluke, and I'm not really good at it, you're not going to be able to develop them. But it's time. I swear to you, Mark, we've got it in our technology. I think cell phones and the Internet, the fact that it's connecting us all over the planet now instantaneously, is making us more telepathic, or what we called entangled mind, or non-local mind. All of that stuff is starting to show up in our technology. So if we can do it with our technology, that means our minds, not just our brains, our minds have far greater abilities than we realize.
Pam, when you first discovered that you had this ability, did it frighten you?
No. No, you know what? Actually, what frightened me, the ability didn't frighten me. The fear that I would be wrong frightened me. When people would come to see me, I'd go, what if I don't get anything? What if I make a mistake? What if I let them down? That was worse. The ability didn't scare me. I never had a fear. I don't believe in anything dark or evil or bad. So that didn't scare me. I'm fine with expanding. I'm more of an adventurous soul. But disappointing somebody or getting it wrong or not getting anything, not picking up anything about a person was the scariest part. But you know what? I always did. Something always came through. So even now, even when I get on, a client, I can still go, gosh, I sure hope I can read them. I'm getting more and more relaxed about it. But that's the scariest part, is our fear of being wrong or our fear of failure. And, Mark, that's what stops us from all kinds of things, right? We're afraid that we'll fail, or we're afraid people won't like us if we don't do it right.
Which is really what you're talking about in Infinite You, which is a fine book. And you're talking more about the exploration of self and how to expand yourself into the world that we all live in to not only just, make yourself a more fulfilled person, but maybe even kind of emanate that sort of energy and feeling to everyone around you.
Yeah, exactly right. You know what? I've taught classes on helping people expand their consciousness, like intuitive and psychic development and bending spoons. And it's so funny when you get a group of people and they all see other people doing it, it's so much easier for them to believe it's true, so they start opening up themselves. But when when the person's all by themselves, they get afraid, oh, it's not possible, I can't really do it. So yes, if you expand your consciousness, if you expand, and it brings in more compassion, more love, like I said before, that just helps other people feel safe and that it's okay for them to expand also.
My guest here this evening on The Edge of the Unknown, Pam Oslie. We're talking about her book, Infinite You, as I just mentioned. We're talking about auras. We're going to be exploring a lot of different areas of the paranormal tonight with Pamela, and if you want to get on board, feel free to do so. 717-298-7460. If you're listening online and you're not using the TuneIn Radio app, you can feel free to go to allonebroadcast.com. That's probably where you are already, and click on the live chat room button, and you can interact with me there, and you can interact with the other folks who are also listening online. theedgeoftheUnknown@gmail.com is your way to get on board via email if you have a question or something that you would like to share. We're taking you up until 10 o'clock here, as we do each and every Sunday night. So as I mentioned, I do want to get to a question that we got in the live chat room, and we will do so. But actually, somebody else asked a question that I want to throw out there. If they do call up and they want a quick aura reading of color, can you do that or no?
Yes,
Okay.
I can, especially if they're on the phone. If they're in the chat room, it's a little trickier.
Sure.
Because it's too much technology. But if I have them on the phone, absolutely, I can tell them their aura colors.
Perfect. So anybody who wants to do that, feel free to do so. And again, check out the website, lifecolorscity.com. That's lifecolorscity.com. I know we're close to Canada, but there's no U in color. It's just COLORS.com. So anyway. I have to pick on the Canadians every once in a while. They're right across the border, so we'll do that. Anyway, so I'm going to grab a question here, and Jamie wrote in, and she asked, I guess, geez, I shouldn't assume that this is a female, but Jamie says, about 10 years ago, I had gone to an event in L.A., and a vendor there had a camera that took your photo and provided you with an instant photo of your aura. What is Pam's thoughts on that? I have not seen anything like it since, and would like to know what you would think about that.
I love that somebody brought up that question. Thank you so much. So here's the deal. I see different colored bands around people. I'm leading up to those cameras, okay? I see different colored bands that radiate out from people. There's a band closest to your body that encircles the entire body. Then there's another layer outside of that that encircles your entire body. So it goes out in layers. And the one or two colors of bands that are closest to your body are your life colors. Those are the two colors that show me, one or two colors that show me your personality, the theme that you have for this lifetime, what's going to make you happy, careers that you're going to be happy with, relationships that you're going to be compatible with, what your relationship needs are, how you are with money, potential health issues, how you are with kids. All kinds of things are revealed in those two colors. Now, the cameras, when you take their picture, yes, they'll show you your aura, what an aura looks like. Those cameras pick up the emotional energy that's around you at that time, which is what I see in the outer bands of the aura. The outer bands, outside of those two bands of color, the outer bands change all the time according to what's going on with you at the time and your emotional things or what you're working on. So, for example, if somebody's really angry, all of a sudden a lot of red will flare up in their outer bands, but it's not necessarily a red life color. So when you get your picture taken, what they should show you is that it reveals your energy at that time, and that could change an hour from now, the next day. They don't always pick up the life colors that I see. And I also want to point out that a lot of people see auras, and I've met so many people that see the exact same colors that I do, which is so fun. It's like, yeah, I know, I see violet around that person too, or green. Oh, that's great. But I've also met a few people that see different colors than I do. And that doesn't mean that one person's right and the other person's wrong. It means that they have a different system and they're having a different experience of those energy fields, just like we taste food differently. Because there's people that like asparagus, and I know they're not tasting what I'm tasting, okay? So that it's the same thing with the energy field. So if you go and have your colors red, like I did, I've got clients that have those cameras, and it showed up a lot of orange and red and yellow in my aura, which revealed that I have a lot of creative energy. And my aura colors are blue and yellow with violet, but that didn't show up in the camera. So don't get your picture taken, then go read my book and try and read what it means. It's a different system.
So it's interesting, while you were just explaining that, I wrote down, do our auras change? As you mentioned, yeah, they might fluctuate from, different situations that you might be in, different emotions that you're feeling, but your normal aura, or the aura that you're born with, stays with you?
Yes. Now, I would never limit anyone, especially not yellows. And Mark, I swear you've got some yellow in your aura. Yellows are nice people. They're pleasers. They got a great sense of humor, lots of creative ideas. They need sports. They need to be able to be out in nature and do activities. And yellows are the nicest people, but man, do yellows hate being told what to do. Okay, they got a little stubborn streak. I got yellow too. So I would never tell somebody they can't do anything. But in my experience of doing this for 30 years, I very rarely see anybody change their life colors. It shows me what you came to this planet to do. It should match up with, I feel like we left breadcrumbs behind when we came here. So it should match up with your astrology, your numerology, iridology, palmistry, all those other ologies. It should match up what it says about you. It's kind of what you planned on doing and experiencing and being when you came to the planet. Now, people can change that, but I very rarely see people changing that.
When you mention that the aura, the outside edge, might change with an emotion,
Yes.
Can we physically change our aura? You mentioned things like, well, he was bad with money. Okay, maybe a guy was bad with money in his 20s and got himself into debt for whatever reason, but then built himself away from that. Would that then change the overall aura and then therefore make what the aura might have meant before a little bit different for anybody who might see it?
Well, good question. It doesn't necessarily change their life color. So, for example, yellows usually are not that good with money. Now, violets and greens can be, but yellows, they don't care about money. It's about having fun, freedom, friends. They just want to have a good time here. So yellows can get money and it kind of disintegrates in their hands. But as yellows get older or they get more empowered, they might have learned how to manage their money better, how to actually do something creative with it so it doesn't leak like that. Now, it doesn't change the fact that they're still a yellow.
Sure.
They just got what I call empowered with it. There's empower of each of the aura colors, meaning they're living their positive potential, their fuller selves. And then there's out of power. Now, and those are people, when somebody's out of power, that means they're living the downside, or they're not living their potential. They're living I hate to use this word, but the negative side or the negative qualities of that aura color. So yellows can get flaky, irresponsible, they procrastinate, they leak money, they're addictive personalities. That's when they're out of power. But when they're in power, you yellows don't age, you're perennial Peter Pans. You got just unending energy. You're like the little Energizer bunnies. And yellows can stay really happy and healthy for a really long time. But now when they're out of power, they get into addictions and get lazy and flaky and procrastinate.
Which is funny because we all procrastinate, I think, to a sort. But it's interesting that you mentioned that. And hang on, somebody was just calling in. Continue to call in. If I don't answer your call right away, just hang in there. We'll get you on the show. And again, the number is 717-298-7460. I'm going to grab an email before we do take a break here. Carol writes in, very simply, can we see our own auras? Kara, thanks for being on the edge.
Yes, you can. I mean, it's the same thing as seeing anybody else's aura. You just have to, just what I said, be willing to, believe it's possible, trust what you're seeing, practice, stay open. And actually on my website, I have a free handout. If people just go on there and say, learn to see aura colors, there's a link right there. You just click on it, and it'll send you a full handout on different ways that you can learn either to see them, feel them, experience them, pick them up psychically. I have lots of different methods that people can learn to see or sense auras.
My guest here this evening on The Edge of the Unknown, Pamala Oslie. She is the author of Infinite You and also Life Colors, Love Colors, and Make Your Dreams Come True. You can find all of that information of those books and copies and how to get in more information on them at lifecolorscity.com. She's going to be my guest until 10 o'clock this evening here on The Edge of the Unknown. If you want to get on board, feel free to do so. 717-298-7460 is the number to call in if you're interested in shooting me an email, as Carol just did, theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook, Edge of the Unknown Radio Show. Let's take a quick call here before we do take a break. So, let's do this here, and I hopefully we're all still connected. Who's this?
This is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie, and I want to do one thing before I continue on with this, because I think we might have screwed something up here, as I am the chief cook and bottle washer. I think I might have I think Pam was either hung up on or she's no longer with us. Pam, are you still here? She is not. Jamie, can you call back in just a second?
Absolutely.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm sorry to do that to you, but I have to do that. Oh, goodness. Hang on. I think Pam is still on hold. Pam, you're still there, right? Nope, I don't know. I think we screwed everything up. Why not? Everything happens for a reason, and we always have these issues. I will get Pam back on the line here in just a second. Oh, boy. It's always fun here on The Edge of the Unknown, and there's always something that is always going south. As Dave from Lovejoy always likes to say, you're haunted. Well, Dave, I don't know if that I'm haunted, so but it's probably just on my end, things getting a little screwed up. Pam Oslie is my guest here this evening on The Edge of the Unknown, and we're going to be back with her in just a second. We're going to take a fast break. If you want to get on board, feel free to give us a holler. We would love to hear from you, as I just mentioned the number before, and again, the email address, theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com. you can also give us a ring, and it's simple to do so. And I promise that we won't screw this up again. 717-298-7460, 717-298-7460. We are going to have a wonderful time with you and with Pam Oslie for the rest of the evening. Everybody, stick around. There's much more coming up here on the Edge of the Unknown. We will iron this issue out with the phone lines. So, hey. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Whether you're kicking your week off or wrapping your week up, it's a pleasure to be your host for Paranormal Talk here on the All One Broadcast Radio Network. We're back right after this.
Need answers to your questions? Solutions for your problems? Then tune in Wednesday evenings at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Lady Catherine Live, only on the All One Radio Network.
Looking for the best in vintage clothing? Look no further than Vintage Wears Boutique at vintagewearsboutique.com. Women's classic jackets and coats, skirts and dresses, all just a click away. Check out the latest inventory online for pictures, sizing, and more. Have a particular item in mind you can't find anywhere else? Go to vintagewearsboutique.com. Still stumped? Try their personal shopper service and let them do the work. Find the best in vintage clothing at vintagewearsboutique.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us at vintagewears_ on Twitter, and see us on Pinterest and Tumblr. vintagewearsboutique.com, where the past is your style.
Hey everyone, Mark Henry here from the Edge of the Unknown, coming at you every Sunday night from 8 to 10 Eastern on the All One Broadcast Radio Network. Coming up Sunday, March 23rd.
Hey, this is Medium Julie MacDonald, and I am coming up on Sunday because I am taking over the Edge of the Unknown.
Wait a minute. Who authorized this? You already own Wednesdays.
Listen, Mark. Okay, I have connections at the top of A1B. I can own any day I want.
This is brutal, but you know what? We're going to have a lot of fun. My guest will be Medium Julie MacDonald. We're going to be talking about mediumship, and we're going to explore it in a different way that I have not done so far in the past on the Edge of the Unknown. So it's going to be a blast. She's going to give me a hard time, I'm sure.
Of course.
And I'm going to give her a hard time, as I always do.
I can't wait to see how we're going to explore mediumship, Mark.
It is going to be amazing, and you guys better tune in to allonebroadcast.com, the All One Broadcast Radio Network, with me.
And me, Medium Julie MacDonald. Be there, guys.
Don't miss it. Hang out in the live chat room at allonebroadcast.com. Catch it on your smartphone or tablet with the TuneIn Radio app, station A1B. And if you miss anything, download the show on our on-demand section or find me on iTunes. That's The Edge of the Unknown with me, Mark Henry, only on the All One Broadcast Radio Network, the Internet's best destination for paranormal talk. If you live in the Western New York area and you're into body art, then you got to check out the pros at 6th Order Tattoo. 3503 Genesee Street in Cheektowaga, New York, 716-633-7171. Shop owner Chris Coppola and artist Joe Folmar and Andy Biscaglia are proficient in many tattoo styles, including traditional American, Japanese, modern Polynesian. They can do illustrated tattoos, portrait tattoos. If you've got a design, they will recreate it and put it on your body. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a tattoo, these are the cats to check out. I got my first tattoo back in the 90s by an internationally known tattoo artist, and it was great. But the experience that I've had at 6th Order has eclipsed that by 1,000-fold. The shop is clean. The shop is brightly lit. The shop has art on the walls that are amazing to look at. And I'll tell you what, I've been going there for 2 years. I will go nowhere else, and I will not let anybody else tattoo me other than my buddy Joe Folmar. So give him a call today, 716-633-7171, or stop in 3503 Genesee Street to get an appointment today. But you gotta hurry. They are in demand, and their calendars fill up fast. 6th Order Tattoo, the only place for ink.
Hello, everybody. This is Mike Diamond from ParanormalWarehouse.com. Don't forget to tune in to myself and my co-host Christopher Bergenzer, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Thursday. You'll be listening into some great interviews, our breaking news, forum question and discussion of the week, and whatever shenanigans we happen to get into. So again, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Thursday on allonebroadcast.com.
For those interested in delving deep into the paranormal, why not look into the Paratech Store? Located at paratechstore.com, browsers will find the latest in investigative equipment, books, and more. Items go beyond technical equipment. Mojo bags, stone sets, and other curiosities await your exploration at the Paratech Store. paratechstore.com. Visit them today.
What's that? Who's there? I don't know. But this here is Mark Henry, and you're listening to The Edge of the Unknown.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for that technical snafu. I appreciate your patience as we get the phone lines up and running. My guest, Pam Oslie, is back. Please check out her website, lifecolorscity.com. Her book, Infinite You, is available there. We're going to be talking about auras and parallel universes in just a little bit. If you want to get on board, call us, 717-298-7460. I know somebody was trying to call in, Jamie, and I just ended up having to hang up on Jamie and continue on with the show because for some strange reason we hung up on Pam, and that's not a good thing as she is the focus of the Edge of the Unknown. Jamie is calling back in. Pam, are you ready to take this call? Pam, are you with me?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Okay, hang on. Let's try this. Here we go.
I think it's all our energy together. We're just blowing out all the systems.
Like I said, Dave always tells me from the chat room, he's like, you're haunted, man. There's always something that's getting screwed up, but you're live, you're here, everything is great. Jamie, you have called back.
Yes.
Thanks for being on the Edge of the Unknown. Pamela is all yours. Go ahead.
Hi, Pamela. How are you?
I'm great, Jamie. How are you?
Wonderful. I'm a fellow Santa Barbarian. However, I'm currently in Santa Fe, New Mexico, enjoying the dry, high elevation here.
Fun, very fun, very fun. Yes, it's very hot here and it's kind of dry, but you know when you're this close to the ocean, there's more humidity than where you are.
Oh, absolutely. So I had a question for you on possibly getting an aura reading. I had a psychic reading recently, and she actually said that she saw me surrounded by a bright white light, and that it was more like a protection light. And I didn't understand if she was actually reading an aura or if that was something else.
Well, you know, I see some white in people, but I usually see colors. So whatever she meant, you know, everybody has a different experience.
Right.
So if she felt it was a protective layer, then that's fine. That's probably when I first started seeing auras, all I saw was white. It took me a little while to be able to see the colors, but it sounds to me like she's got a different perception of what the different things mean. So I can tell you what I see around you.
That'd be lovely.
Okay, so Jamie, so help me get a visual of you, and the way I do that is tell me what color hair and eyes you have, and if you color your hair, tell me the natural color and what you've got on it, but what color hair and eyes do you have?
My hair is auburn, more on the strawberry blonde side, but not so blonde or so red, except when I'm in the sun, you can really see the red in it. My eye color is a hazel. Tends to be green and light.
Okay.
Green, yellow, brown.
Green, yellow, brown. Okay. Oh, wow, Jamie, you got some interesting colors around you. Holy cow. Usually I see one or two colors around people. You have a lot. Now, first of all, you do have yellow in your aura, and the one I'm seeing, and yellows are healers, or yellows do creative projects. You know what I know about you yellows, too? It's like yellows need variety. They don't want to just do one thing, and they don't belong sitting behind a desk. Do you understand how you want to do a lot of different things and how you want to work for yourself? You also have some blue in your aura, but you've got a lot of violet. So watch, mostly yellow, so creativity. I'm glad you're in nature because yellows need nature. They usually need sunshine.
Yes.
Lots of projects for you. Blues want to help people. So a lot of times I see blues being teachers, counselors, and nurses, and you have some of that energy in there, okay? But you've also got quite a bit of violet, Jamie. And Mark, you can hear this too because you've got violet too. The violet that you've got in your aura now, Jamie, is the part that wants to do your own projects and reach more people and have freedom. Violets are visionaries, so blues want to help people, but violets want to do projects that sometimes violets want to be famous or really well known, but they're leaders, they're visionaries, they're teachers. A lot of times violets are drawn into the creative fields, which you have in you too, so whether or not you want to write a book or do creative projects, that works for your violet and your yellow. Or violets get involved in teaching or psychology, but violets have to do groups. You see, blues will do one-on-one. Violets have to reach the masses. They have to reach groups. And then, or violets will get involved in causes. So do you understand? You've got a bunch of violet in your aura now.
Absolutely.
That part of you that wants to know, here's the deal about you, Violet. So, Jamie, no, I'm sorry. What's your name again? I'm sorry.
It's Jamie.
Jamie. Okay, good. Sure. Violets get accused of being unrealistic dreamers, and you guys even do that to yourselves because what violets want to do seems so big and so unrealistic that they go, I don't know how to get there, I don't know how to do it, and so you're up against that. You understand the projects that you want to do. Part of you's like, yeah, I can do it, and I swear, Jamie, I'm picking up a little part of you that goes, but how? How am I going to pull this all off? Okay. Plus, a violet will start sometimes going, no, who do I think I am? Do I really think I can do this? Who's going to come? Who's going to do this with me? And I go, no, Jamie, if you get a vision, you trust it and you go full out because violets are supposed to teach what's possible. They need to show people, and violets are here to help save the planet. They want to improve the quality of life for people, and they want to inspire and educate people and motivate them to believe in themselves. And you have all of that, Jamie. Do you understand?
Yes, that's impressive. It's almost right to the T. Absolutely.
Yep. Well, don't let anybody stop you because, you're going to run across either family members or whatever. They don't think that way. They think, you should get a job, be safe, be practical. And I go, no, Jamie, you don't fit in the box. You need to leap way outside the box.
I was about to say, did you talk to my dad?
Well, have fun with it. Make it fun. And
Thank you.
Keep staying focused on who you're going to inspire and help, and you'll get it done. If you make it be about you, you could trip over it.
Wonderful. Thank you for the reading. I'm enjoying the show.
Okay,
Jamie.
Have fun, Jamie. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Appreciate you being on the edge. Hopefully you continue on listening as we continue through 2014. I appreciate you calling. Jamie was just on board with my guest, Pam Oslie. You can get on board with her as well, 717-298-7460. We've got a very interesting chat going on in the live chat room at allonebroadcast.com. If you want to get on board with the live chat room, just click on the button that says that right there. Again, you can give us a ring. You can also shoot me an email, theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com. We want to delve into parallel universes because as I mentioned, there's an interesting conversation going on in live chat that I think might apply to that. But I do have an email that I want to get to before we get too backed up here. And let me run over to my iPad. And here we go. Ken and NT asks, do our auras stay with us after we die? Do ghosts or spirits have auras? Are they the same? Ken, thanks for calling or writing in to the Edge of the Unknown.
What a cool question. I love that question. Okay, so first of all, I do believe that we all have other lives, and some people call them past lives, but I see them all simultaneously since there's no such thing as time on the other side. That time is a construct we do here, but it doesn't exist on the other side or beyond this consciousness. So in other lives, you have other aura colors. You have been every color there is, a red, an orange, a magenta, a lavender, a crystal, because our souls can't be contained in just one experience or one lifetime. So in other lifetimes, you have different aura colors, different life colors. And when I talk to people who have crossed over, if they're talking with a loved one that's in the room with me, they tend to keep the same aura color around them so that the loved one can identify who they are, not basically by the aura colors because most of their loved ones can't see auras, but if somebody was, a very intelligent, hardworking type A personality, which is a green aura color, they'll probably show themselves as having a green aura color still on the other side so that I can explain to this person who I'm talking to and they recognize them. But people have free will on this side. They have free will on the other side. So they can do anything they want, especially over there. They can change their aura color as often as they want. I just don't usually see that happening when we're embodied in each lifetime.
I got to ask you this because you mentioned that I'm violet and that I'm yellow, and a lot of what you say is pretty applicable to who I am and my personality. Are you sure it's not brown? Because because
well,
honestly, I am a visionary guy, but I'm also at the same time a guy that says there's where we need to go, and here's how we're going to do it, and we're going to do it. So I'm not necessarily a procrastinator. Of course, with some things, as I mentioned before, we all are. But at other times, I am, no, that's where we need to go. We got to get to the top of that hill, and by hell or high water, follow me, we're going to go there, and we get there.
Oh, that's what violets do when they're empowered. They're leaders. They're visionaries. They see way ahead of other people. And you violets think that what you see is common sense. You go, look, this is what we need to do. Why can't people see this? But let me make sure, okay? So, Mark, what color hair and eyes do you have?
I have brown hair and brown eyes.
And so is it brown? Is it light, medium, or dark brown hair?
It is a dark brown.
Well, I'm getting you were born violet and yellow. And violets are leaders. They're visionaries. They're like, come on, everybody, we can do this. I mean, a lot of like John and Robert Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King. I have a dream. I have a vision. Nelson Mandela, Oprah, Bono. You've got the same aura colors as George Clooney and Spielberg and George Lucas. Do you see how? And violets usually want to do projects. And ultimately, violets need to have freedom. Violets really don't like working for other people, especially if they're working for people that are very short-sighted or narrow-minded. The violets are like, don't you see? We need to do this other thing. So, yeah, that's a violet in power, meaning you're living the positive qualities of your violet. When violets are out of power, they either, one, get really scattered, and there's like 20 things they want to do, which you do sometimes, Mark, okay? There's like 20 projects the violet wants to do, and then they don't know which ones they don't know which way to go next, and then they multitask, and they start juggling them all at the same time, which you do, okay? The other downside of a violet, and now violets can get very frustrated with people sometimes, especially if people are being stupid. Now, you keep a pretty good balance, Mark. You know, you've got that. Yellows are nice guys. You know, they'll go, okay, take it easy, relax. But when violets are out of power, they can get very impatient, very judgmental, very holier than thou, very judgmental. It's like, come on, people, move it, get out of the fast lane. You idiot, why are you driving in this lane? You're supposed to be over, Violets can get impatient with the stupidity of humanity. They get frustrated that people are doing stupid things in politics or the government or, anything. Violets, because violets see so far and they don't understand why everybody can't see that far. I go, Mark, they don't. Tans are very... Watch this. Tans are very logical and analytical and practical, and you try to pull in tans sometimes, Mark, that makes me laugh. Tans are the ones that will deal with the details. They're very much about technology, or they'll do step 1, step 2, step 3. They're engineers, they're computer programmers, they're bookkeepers. They love focusing on the details. And violets are like, no, I just want to see the big picture, 150. And tans are back here going, step 1, step 2, step 3. Violets like, 150, come on, 150, let's go. You understand?
No, totally. The funny thing is that I am that way a lot with a lot of things, especially driving. Because, like I said, by hell or high water, I'm getting there, and we're going to get there, and I don't care how we do it. You can write it out in a million different steps. But now, you've inspired me. I want to get a reverse sticker on my windshield of my car. That'll be, obviously reverse. But anybody in front of me can look into their rearview mirror and see, gangway, fathead.
Now, see, that's a violet yellow talking. Because yellows have a sense of humor. Yellows are always funny, which is why I've been able to joke with you, Mark. I can only joke with yellows. Yellows have a great sense of humor. But, boy, violets, when they get out of power, man, you guys are like, get out of my way.
And I am that way. I just, oh, God. We can talk about myself for 3 hours, and I can... it just, yeah. I used to race mountain bikes, and one of my friends that I used to team up with a lot of tandem races he was a very, very strong climber. He's unbelievably, just lots of endurance. I didn't care. I just wanted to go downhill like a bat out of hell because I wanted to be at the bottom of the hill first. I hated the climb up. So, well, anyway.
Well, see, here's the deal. Yellows like nature. They need to exercise to be happy. Yellows have to exercise to be happy and be out in nature. When yellows don't want to have to work that hard, though. They love nature. If they're having fun, they'll go for it. If it's not fun, if it's too much hard work, it's like, ah. And see, that's the opposite of a violet. If a violet's passionate about something, they will just go for it full out if they're passionate about something. Okay, so it's an interesting combination to do yellow and violet, but those are the creative visionaries on the planet. And violets want money. They don't want to work just for money, Mark. Violets want money for freedom and to be philanthropic and to change the world and to do their projects. Greens are the ones that will work just for money, but if violets can't go against their principles or it makes them feel bad. And if violets are working at a job that they don't like the people, they don't like the management, the whatever, violets are like, oh, greens will just go, okay, get out of my way. I'm going to be the manager here.
This is so funny. Oh, boy. Okay. Anyway, we everybody has learned enough about me. And from the chat room, we've got a number of questions, which I want to get to right now. Again, allonebroadcast.com. If you're listening there, click on the button that says live chat room, and you can get in to that discussion there. Click on the little button. Click on my name, which is right at the top, Mark Henry. This is The Edge of the Unknown. You can click on a button that says private chat. Send me your question, and I will get that over to my guest, Pamala Oslie, and we're talking about her book, Infinite You. Check out her website, lifecolorscity.com, and there's more information about the book, how you can get it there. And we're talking about auras. We're going to delve into parallel universes in just a second here, but I want to get back to this because there's an interesting conversation, as I mentioned, going on. I don't know the name of this person because if you don't register your name in the chat room, it just assigns you a stupid name. So this is a gentleman who is living in England. He is from Spain, and he's got a very interesting question that he just mentioned before. I'm going to have to scroll back up here. And Pamela, this is where you might be able to help him out because he's actually looking for some kind of answer. He says that he was sitting in his home that he's renting right now in England. He felt something strange behind him. There was a strange noise coming from his computer while he was having dinner. Suddenly he began feeling very, very nervous. He felt like he was without energy, and for about 15 minutes he just felt dull, like he didn't have any energy. And he's never felt like that before. He's living in England for a year. I don't have his hair color or eye color or anything like that, but he was just talking to someone else in the chat room who thought maybe it was somebody else that in a parallel universe or a spirit or ghost or whatever we want to talk about kind of maybe came by and threw everything off a little off kilter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal. First of all, there's a lot more people getting more and more sensitive where we're feeling it, and there's a lot, I believe the veil is getting really thin, the veil in between universes or other realms. There's lots of names for it. People can say these are people in other realms, parallel universes, ghosts, people who've crossed over, whatever. My sense is, number one, that this man felt a being, felt an entity, on the other side. He's sensitive to it. Number two, and here's the biggest one, Mark, I am not a fear person. I want to encourage people not to give their power away, not to go into fear about this, because then they'll just shut it down and go into fear on anything.
Sure.
So, one, people have power. They can block it out if they don't want to. Two, I fully believe that nobody on the other side or in another realm has any power over you unless you want to go into the drama of it. Now, a lot of people love drama, which is okay. Everybody's here on the planet having different experiences. There are people that like to go to war movies or horror movies and monster movies and, scary movies. It's like, that's cool. I don't like those movies, but they do, and it's okay. They get a kick out of it.
Sure.
But I would recommend that this man not go into fear about it, to gather up his energy because he has control over that, pull back in his energy, own his full strength, and either he can ask if he just felt somebody in another realm, if there was a spirit around him, which is basically the same thing. And if there's a message, or if he was just open to that energy at that point and not to let it scare him.
So Wookum Love, I have no idea why we assign these silly names to anybody who comes into the Wookum Love, and there's always like kissy lips or something else. Wookum Love, I hope that helped you out, man. If you have any other question, you can feel free to ask again through the live chat room. Shoot me an email at theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com or give us a ring, 717-298-7460. I doubt that's probably possible from being across the pond, but feel free to do that. We've got to get to another question in the live chat room. I've got more questions coming in through the email, but hey, we have to take a break. It is the top of the hour. We're taking you up until 10 o'clock here on the Edge of the Unknown. And to anybody during the last break when I was cracking wise about the weather here and people were saying how it was really cold, and I said that we have a climate dome in my neighborhood, I was kidding. I didn't put a climate dome in over my house where it's 78 degrees all the time and there's no snow and that sort of thing. So that was a joke, folks. Sometimes I am playful. Pamela understands that. She knew that right away when I first talked to her.
And I also understand how to affect the weather, kiddo. So if people want to change the weather where they are, it's totally possible. I do it all the time. So that's a great topic. That's in my book, how our energy can affect the weather.
And we got to talk about that. And I'm on Chapter 6, Parallel Universes, right here. I've got my thumb open to that chapter. We need to talk about that right after we get to another question when we come back from this short break. Everybody, I appreciate you hanging out with me late on a Sunday evening, whether you're wrapping your week up or you're ramping up into your week. This is the Edge of the Unknown. We're taking you to 10 o'clock as we do every Sunday night here on the All One Broadcast Radio Network. As I mentioned before, Pamala Oslie is my guest. Her book, Infinite You, check it out. LifeColorsCity.com. We want to hear from you. Give us a yell at any of the most convenient ways for you. Email, phone, Twitter, knock yourself out. We'll get to your question or comment when we get back. Mark Henry here for the cool cats at Natural Vapors, with 2 locations in Western New York and online at naturalvaporsbuffalo.com. Natural Vapors offers a variety of e-cigarettes and accessories for those making the jump from analog smokes. Whether you're new to vaping or you're a seasoned user, Natural Vapors has what you're looking for. First-time vaping? Visit with their dedicated staff and they'll set you up with a starter kit that is customized for you. For the experienced vapors, they carry the latest smooth batteries and tanks by Kanger. And if you're looking for mods, they've got Innokin mods, custom wraps, and much, much more. Natural Vapors offers dozens of e-liquids to fit your flavor fancy, as well as wholesale e-liquids. And hey, all liquids are made in-house from USA FDA-approved ingredients. Don't take my word for it. Check them out yourself. 2 locations in Western New York, Southgate Plaza in West Seneca, and also in the Union Consumer Square Plaza in Cheektowaga. Not from around here or just don't want to leave the house? Order online at naturalvaporsbuffalo.com and have everything delivered right to your door wherever you are. That's Natural Vapors and naturalvaporsbuffalo.com. Tell them Mark Henry sent you. If you live in the Western New York area and you're into body art, then you got to check out the pros at 6th Order Tattoo. 3503 Genesee Street in Cheektowaga, New York, 716-633-7171. Shop owner Chris Coppola and artist Joe Folmar and Andy Biscaglia are proficient in many tattoo styles, including traditional American, Japanese, modern Polynesian. They can do illustrated tattoos, portrait tattoos. If you've got a design, they will recreate it and put it on your body. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a tattoo, these are the cats to check out. I got my first tattoo back in the 90s by an internationally known tattoo artist, and it was great. But the experience that I've had at 6th Order has eclipsed that by 1,000-fold. The shop is clean. The shop is brightly lit. The shop has art on the walls that are amazing to look at. And I'll tell you what, I've been going there for 2 years. I will go nowhere else, and I will not let anybody else tattoo me other than my buddy Joe Folmar. So give him a call today, 716-633-7171, or stop in 3503 Genesee Street to get an appointment today. But you gotta hurry. They are in demand, and their calendars fill up fast. 6th Order Tattoo, the only place for ink.
Looking for the best in vintage clothing? Look no further than Vintage Wears Boutique at vintagewearsboutique.com. Women's classic jackets and coats, skirts and dresses, all just a click away. Check out the latest inventory online for pictures, sizing, and more. Have a particular item in mind you can't find anywhere else? Go to vintagewearsboutique.com. Still stumped? Try their personal shopper service and let them do the work. Find the best in vintage clothing at vintagewearsboutique.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us at vintagewears_ on Twitter, and see us on Pinterest and Tumblr. vintagewearsboutique.com, where the past is your style.
Never met a Yeti he didn't like. It's Mark Henry on the Edge of the Unknown.
And usually major life questions are things like, one, is there God? And then the second inch that will show up of white next to their body is, does God know who I am? And usually the third answer for the white to show up next to the body is, now what do I do with that information? But a lot of times if I just see white, like I see white around plants, trees, the earth, I see a lot of white around nature. Usually that's the way I see white around people. But again, the white that you saw could be somebody who's really spiritual, or you weren't tuned into their color that day. I don't really know how you saw the white, but I do believe that you were seeing auras, Mark.
I'm sorry to interrupt this. Actually, someone is saying that we are not actually broadcasting right now. So hang on a second here, and let me see if anybody. Okay, well, actually, they just said, there we go. Okay, man, wow, this is so embarrassing. Anyway, so
it's your energy, Mark. You're blowing the system out. I'm telling you.
I have no idea why this happens every once in a while, and so I'm just going to shoot this out again to everybody here. Hang on one second.
All right, and while you're doing that, Mark, I can explain to people too that even if people can't see auras, and violets are usually the first ones that do see them, we've all felt them. That's why you can meet somebody for the first time and either feel really comfortable around them right away and you don't mind standing close to them, and other people you pull away from, you're feeling their energy. You're not comfortable with their energy, and it could be that there's a red overlay, which is different than a red life color, or their aura colors are not compatible with yours, but we've all felt it.
I'm going to tell Rookie this because Rookie did not hear the reading that you just gave. Rookie, if you want to call in, it's better if you do that because, unfortunately, Pam can only do a general feel about what your aura is, 717-298-7460. But if you want to reiterate what you just said, you can actually, she just asked, did she do your aura yet? If you want to redo that again, let's try this. Her name is Julie, medium brown hair, blue eyes.
And so is she going to try and call in? Or
I don't know yet. So let's see what she does, because apparently that entire discussion we had was not broadcast. Perfect. Yay.
Well, let's see. Okay. So
are you flexible to go a little over 10 o'clock so we can actually make this a 2-hour show?
Sure.
Right,
that's
great.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. I can't tell. Well, let's see if Julie calls in, and if she doesn't call in, then in about 5 minutes, ask me the question again, and I'll tell Julie what I see around her.
Perfect.
Even though it's not as easy for me to do it through technology that's so removed, and there's so many people online that I could cross into somebody else. But I can tell you this: her aura she feels really beautiful, very loving, and a lot of blue in her aura. I'm picking up predominantly blue. And blues are just, they're big loves. It's all about relationship, heart, They want to be in love. Blues usually have the Cinderella complex. And blues are usually very, very emotional, so they cry easily. They cry when they're mad, when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're watching commercials. But she's got a beautiful soul, and blues usually want to help people. Mm-hmm. But I still feel like there's a little bit of violet and a little bit of yellow there, too. So if she calls in, I can get a better signal on her.
She actually said she is going to call, and you kind of mentioned something about relationships, too.
Yeah, that's what I said. Blues, their priority is relationships. Blues have the Cinderella complex. We want to be in, I'm a blue, too. Blues want to be in loving, bonded, committed relationships more than anything in the world. Blues are spiritual, and it's all about love and helping people here. And blues are actually very, very, they're the number one besides indigos. They're the most psychic of all the aura colors, blues and indigos, and then also violets. Mark, you violets can read people. Mm-hmm. If you pay attention, violets can read people and go, oh, that person's got problems. I don't want to talk to them because I'm going to have to deal with their issues, because violets can be natural therapists. Mm-hmm. Or violets can look at somebody and go, oh, I don't trust that person. Or, oh, that's a good person there. I feel like I can trust them. So you violets are psychic too.
It's interesting that you bring that up as the colors actually having, being an extension of the person to mm-hmm. look at other people in different ways. So a violet might look at somebody with a blue and say, oh, geez, boy, they're really oversensitive, or they feel this way, and vice versa. But before you answer that, let's grab a call, because I believe this is Julie ringing in here to the Edge of the Unknown. Julie, you're on the Edge of the Unknown. How are you?
Hi, Mark. I'm good. How are you?
Terrific. Thanks for calling in. You are on the line with Pamela Oslie.
You're welcome. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Julie. Okay, now let me really tune into you now that I've really got you, and I'm not trying to pick up through 20 other people on the chat line, okay? So
okay.
Describe your hair and eye color for me.
All right, it's medium brown and blue eyes.
Medium brown. Okay, now so here's the deal. You are born a blue, you've got some yellow, and you've got some violet, just what I picked out, and somebody's tried to make you be a tan. So here's the deal. Blues are very people-oriented, very intuitive, and I swear, Julie, you can sense people, you feel things about them, and what I'm going to say is not everybody believes you or listens to you. Somebody upbringing you tried to get you to be more a tan, and you've learned how to do tan, and I don't get you were born a tan. Tans are more practical, logical, pay the bills, make sure you follow the rules, where blues are more spiritual, they feel things, they sense things. Blues typically are teachers, counselors, and nurses. And we blues, when we're in relationships, we're very loyal, very monogamous. Blues want to be in love, and they want to be in a relationship. Now, you got some of that spunky yellow in your aura, and yellows have creative ideas. They don't like being told what to do, but they're nice people. But just like I said before, you didn't hear it because it wasn't broadcasting. Yellows, I feel like your yellow got squashed because yellows are more free-spirited. And yellows have to watch out for addictions, okay? But yellows have to watch out for things like cigarettes and caffeine and sweets and things like that. But I feel like your yellow got a little suppressed. Do you understand when I say that?
Yes.
Okay, because yellows like to garden, or they like to paint, they like to do creative things. But, man, you're really, Julie, honestly, I feel like you came here to help other people. And you do have a little bit of violet in your aura, so I feel like you're in this transition. So I don't know if that means you're divorced now or you lost a partner, but I feel like there's this part of you that's got a split. Part that wants to make more of a difference and help people, and another part I go, yeah, but Julie, also make sure that yellow comes back up. So you get to have time to yourself, maybe go garden, maybe be creative, do something for yourself, because blues are always trying to give, but I feel like you've been off balance because you haven't given enough to yourself, and you're really a good person. Does all that make sense to you?
All of it.
Yeah. So your trick is going to be, how do I, because blues feel guilty. If they do things just for themselves, they feel guilty. And you got that, but you're getting better at it, Julie. So I give you a lot of credit for that. You are getting better at it.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so find a way to help people. And do you understand when I say I feel like people in your past just have not given you credit? Like they don't listen to you. I feel like they just discredit you. They don't listen. So find a way to listen to yourself so you can go out there and sometimes either help animals, because you probably trust animals or plants more than you do some of the people. But
that's my motto. I love children and animals, and I think adults stink.
Yep, that's what you just showed me. So you can help animals, which I like you doing. You can help children, mostly animals, because I feel like the animals will really appreciate you helping them. Help animals, help nature, and then make sure you've got some time to yourself. where you're getting to do things with nature or animals on your own, just so you got quiet time. Because I can tell. That's why I said I feel like people have discounted you, and it's not made you happy. So so leave them alone and go help the ones that will appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much, Pam. It all made sense, and it's all true.
Okay, good. Well, have fun. You're ready to break through to go do, and believe in yourself, okay? Good. Trust your intuition. Blues are psychic. Believe in yourself. Go do what your heart tells you to do, but don't be upset at people. They're just kind of wounded, so they didn't know any better.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Julie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Julie, appreciate you being on the edge of the unknown. And this actually brings up an interesting question. And again, another thing that I thought of this morning, as I brush my chest and revel in how amazing I am. Right. Interestingly enough, actually, before I get to that, let's grab another call. We have Craig calling in. Craig, you are on the edge of the unknown. How are you?
I'm good. Is this Pam Oslie?
This is Pam Oslie. Holy cats, it's Craig Eugene, everybody.
Hi, Craig. I thought it was, as soon as you said Craig, I went, I bet you this is Craig Eugene. I bet you.
How are you, dear?
I'm great. How are you, Craig? Nice to hear from you.
I'm hanging in there. So
just hanging in there? Oh, that's not good enough. We have to get fabulous.
So instead of sitting on Mark's end of everything, I want to be on the other end. So
you got a question? Or you want me? Go ahead.
I have dark brown hair and brown eyes. And
dark brown hair and brown eyes, and I've been on your show before, so you've got that spunky, stubborn sense of humor, yellow, right? That doesn't like people telling you don't like people telling you what to do. So I'm glad that you do your own show, because man, you know that you're not great employee material, right? And then there's that Violet that needs to do your own projects. Now, Craig, this is what I'm getting. This is common for you Violets. You Violets want to do all these amazing projects, but you don't always either, one, know how to get to all of them, or you don't always feel supported. Now, Mark's got different energy than you do. But I feel like sometimes, Craig, it's like, excuse me, I'm going to choke here. When I start choking on a Violet, because Violets are communicators, because Violets have to communicate, and if they feel suppressed or not supported on any level, I tend to choke on it. So, Craig, you've got awesome energy, you've got a sense of humor, you've got spunk, you've got vision. At least you're being able to do the show. But you see how not everybody has supported you in this lifetime? And so getting all the projects you want to do and getting, oh, you're so cute. I wish you could watch your yellow. As soon as I tell a yellow what to do, they want to do the opposite. So when I go, Guy, your Violet wants to do big projects, yellows go, yeah, I don't know if I want to work that hard. I'm fine. No, I'm fine just doing what I'm doing. I'll just take it easy. You're funny. So anyway, you do have that Violet. So I'm glad you're inspiring people. You're educating the masses, because that's exactly what Violets need to do, is wake people up. And Craig, what I get about you too is you get people thinking. You get them thinking. That is so good for a Violet to do.
Wow.
Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but you know what? My biggest concern for you is I feel like you've got all this great potential in there of different things you could really do. And typical Violet sometimes, and yellow Violet especially, you guys can hold yourself back out of, well, how do I get there? Because Violets go 150, but they don't always know how to get to 50. Because their vision is a lot of times bigger than them knowing how to handle it all. But I'll give you a good clue here, Craig, because you Violets are really good advice givers. If you listen to the advice that you're giving to everybody else and you take your own advice, dang, there's going to be some good wisdom coming out of you. And if you listen to it and act on your own wisdom, you'll get there.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Well, it makes perfect sense. Can I ask you one direct question?
Yes.
Okay. So, I have this little dinky radio station that you've been a guest on a few times. What's going to happen with this station?
I'm actually hearing the word struggling. So they don't, it's almost like they don't have enough power behind it to get somewhere, or that I'm so sorry I'm going to say this, but I feel like some of the people don't know what they're doing. I feel like there's good intentions there, but I feel it wobbles. So they need to get either somebody in there that really knows what they're doing to get all the legs underneath them, and then they can go someplace. Because I feel like there's good intentions, but do you understand when I say that I feel like it's wobbling? Mm-hmm. With the funding and with some of the people not knowing what they're doing. And they've got a good idea. They've got good ideas. They've got good things that they can do. Ooh, somebody in there's got an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in there just showed up with an attitude, like they don't like being told what to do and they want to do it their way and they're not listening.
That's weird.
But pardon?
That's weird.
It's not you, Mark.
No, it's I hope not.
Well, you know what? The wobble could be growth. Do you understand? It could be that somebody really wants to get growth and they don't know how to catch up with it, how to keep up with the own growth that's there. So it's all there, but somebody, and it could just be one of the shows. It could be somebody that has a show that's got kind of an ego that I'm picking up. But the people have good intentions. I feel like it might be wobbling, do you understand, because of growth. Because they've got growth and they don't know how to either stabilize it or they don't know how to get it bigger and stabilize it. So all I know is I'm feeling a little bit of wobble. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Mark?
It does.
Does it make sense? I'm just on Sunday nights. I turn the mic on and I do my best, so I have no idea.
Well, you know what? It's got good potential. They got good theme, good potential, and it could make it. But I feel like somebody really either needs to get some extra help in there to make it really powerful and really strong, because all the ideas on there are really strong. It's just there's still a wobble.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Hey, Pam.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a real good plug, okay?
Okay.
You kick butt. And you are totally awesome, and I just hope that everybody out there doesn't take advantage of you and that they give you back what you give, because, girl, you give.
That's cool.
Aww.
And I love you for what you do, and, hey, down the road I'll be getting a hold of you about coming on a real show. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Thanks a lot, everybody. It's been fun. Take care. Drive safe.
There's two yellow violets coming at you. That's why the Beatles broke up, yellows. All the Beatles were violet yellows. So look what happened. They're awesome together. They can create awesome projects, but each violet has to have their own spotlight. So, Craig, thank you so much for giving me that. That was such a nice thing for you to give me a compliment like that. Thank you.
Take care, Pam.
Okay, bye.
Craig, thanks for being on. I'm going to give you a ring right after the show so we can talk about what we were just talking about in private chat, okay?
Sounds great.
All right, thanks, Craig.
Man.
Take care.
Bye.
Anybody else can feel free to get on board the radio show tonight, 717-298-7460. As we've had a couple of really cool calls this evening, you can feel free to do so. You can also shoot me a message at theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook, Edge of the Unknown Radio Show. My guest, Pamala Oslie. She is the author of Infinite You. She has also written a book called Life Colors, Love Colors, and Make Your Dreams Come True. Check out her website, lifecolorscity.com. One of the things that we were talking about a little bit earlier, and we kind of got away from to get back into the aura conversation, which is so much fun to talk about, is parallel universes. Let's talk a little bit about that, because Wookham Love, asked a question, and you answered that, and some other folks were talking about possibly things kind of intertwining with our reality and what we see and what's around us. The idea of parallel universes, string theory, other things going on while we're doing what we do. Let's delve into that a little bit. What is your stance on parallel universes? Do we have multiple personalities that are living out lives on other planes? Do they ever intersect?
Yes, and usually that's how we experience deja vu, by the way. So thank you for bringing this up. This is one of my favorite subjects. First of all, this is not science fiction. It's actually, they have evidence. Physicists, quantum physicists have evidence that there's multiverses, that there are parallel universes. And it's funny because a lot of you violets in the media, a lot of them are in movies and there are screenwriters and whatever. Look at how many movies we've had that discuss things like parallel universes under the guise of It's a Wonderful Life, Back to the Future, Groundhog Day, Sliding Doors. I mean, we've had it in our literature, in our movies for a long time. Now, basically what this is, there are other universes going on simultaneously right as close to you as your breath. And the way I like to describe it so that it makes more sense to people, because it sounds so science fiction-y, is that right now there are probably at least 10 to 20 radio stations that are broadcasting in your area, and all those radio waves are around you in the room right now, but you're not perceiving them because you don't have your tuner turned on and set to the frequency that matches each of those radio shows' frequencies. But if you go to your radio and you turn it on, or your computer and you turn it on, and you set it to, let's say, 99.9, you're going to pick up the show that's broadcasting on that frequency. You'll hear the music, the talk. That will become your reality. Then if you change it over to 106, now you're going to hear the music and the talk that's coming out of that station because you're tuned into that frequency. Now, 99.9 is still around you. It's still in the ethers around you. It's still in the atmosphere around you, but it's not part of your reality anymore because you're not tuned into it. This is my analogy. This is how parallel universes are. So to show you how bizarre this actually is, but there's proof that they're real. And I know there's proof because I use them. I figure if these exist, they must be able to be used by us to better our lives or to expand our lives. So what they're saying, this is science now, what they're saying is, imagine you're walking down your street where you live, and you're walking to a meeting, and you look at a store and you go, oh, I would love to go in there and buy a new pair of jeans or something. Oh, I don't have time for that. And you keep walking. There's an actual you. See, we think our consciousness is just limited to our brain, and it so isn't. We're so beyond these bodies, so beyond just little brains. So there's an actual you in consciousness that splits off and goes into that store and buys that new pair of jeans and continues on having a life completely separate from yours, but it's still you. It's another aspect of you. So a parallel universe. Now, we go in and out of parallel universes all the time, you guys, but we're not aware of it because we've been trained to think there's only one reality and only one universe, but it's not the truth. So when you have an experience of having deja vu, that's you intersecting with another you that you split off from. So right now, Mark, there's a you that married somebody that you met in, elementary school. There's another you that never got married in the first place. There's another you that's living on the West Coast. Or every time you make a choice, whatever choice you make, if you decided to go right instead of left, there's another you that split off and took the other option, and they exist simultaneously. Now, you can change your life and better your life by consciously aligning with that other you who maybe has made a whole lot of money or has a whole other career going on or, is healthier, whatever. That's how spontaneous remission happens. Anyway, you can change your life by aligning with one of those other yous that created a different life.
Super interesting, because we could compound that to say the person in another universe that made a different decision might make a different decision than the other person in another universe, and so on and so forth. And it begins to look like looking into the reverse of a mirror in front of us with a mirror behind us that extends as far as the eye can see and beyond.
That's right. That's why I called the book Infinite You. There are infinite versions. This is how I'm going to say it. Who your soul is, who you are as a consciousness, as a being, can never be contained in one body, in one lifetime. Your soul is so much more grand than that, so much more divine, and I really believe that a lot of the mystics and teachers over the centuries have been trying to show us that. And if we would get that, we wouldn't feel like little pawns on a chessboard that can only move one space, and we're victims, and we don't have any creative power over our lives. If we could get who we really are, oh my gosh, and I do all these things. I've been able to, I have dramatic evidence of changing parallel universes and talking with people on the other side who are basically just in other realms. They're in other frequencies, just like other universes or other lives. It's just a matter of terms. If I'm able to do this and thousands of other people on this planet are doing the same thing, that means all of us have this ability, and it just expands our life experience and makes it so much more fun and so much more interesting and so much more empowered. I mean, to me, it's the equivalent of somebody saying, no, the earth is flat. No, we discovered it was round. Wow, that opened up a whole new level of freedom for us. Or flight. When somebody's like, oh, we thought it was science fiction to be able to fly, right? Nah, people, you can't fly. But as soon as we discovered the principle of aerodynamics, we were able to fly. And it's like now we take it, commonplace, right? So if I were to say to you, hey, Mark, there's such a thing as airplanes, and you can come to the West Coast and get here in like 5 hours, you go, yeah, thanks for sharing, and you get in a covered wagon and hook it up to the horses and start coming across the states. It's like it's old technology. And this is all quantum physics. And if people would get what we're really capable of doing, it's amazing, and it's mind-blowing, but it's exciting.
At the same time, if we would see ourselves from a different plane, whether we want to talk about string theory, we want to talk about the multiverse, would we recognize ourselves? Or could just our aura, our attitude, whatever we might be on another plane, show up as something completely unrecognizable?
Well, it depends on how far you've shifted the radio station. So watch, if you're listening to, if you decided to buy a pair, okay, let me make it easy. You decided to wear a white shirt today and instead of a blue one. There's another you that's wearing a blue shirt today. Big deal. If you intersected with that one, it wouldn't be a dramatic change. You'd still recognize you. Matter of fact, you'd think like, oh, it's just me. I mean, I thought I put on a white shirt today, but I guess I did put on a blue shirt today. Or I thought I put my car keys here, but oh my gosh, how'd they get over here? You just went into a different universe, and your keys were in a different place. Mm-hmm. So some of them are so minute and so small that, of course, you would recognize it. There are other universes, parallel universes, that are so dramatically different than, you might weigh like 250 pounds instead of like 185 or whatever you weigh, right? Dramatically different. And who knows, according to Sheldon on Big Bang Theory, there's a you that's made out of, I love how he does that with the multiverse. Uh-huh. Well, according to the math, there's a me that exists that's made out of candy.
Right.
Yeah, every form we could ever imagine actually exists.
I think it's so interesting to think about that, because a lot of folks who have what they might think is a haunting or a demonic infestation, that sort of thing, is it possible that it's just a bending of universes where maybe it is yourself that you're seeing that is causing a disruption that maybe consciously you don't want to either deal with or agree with, or maybe I'm just talking smack and we're just continuing the show to have something fun to talk about.
I think that's a cool thing to feel. It's like I never even thought about that, but yeah, somebody could be so disturbed by another aspect of them that showed up in another lifetime or another parallel universe that's not having a great time, that has really unhappy or intense energy. Sure, somebody could be feeling that. That's a great way to think about it. I think it's all possible, but my key is, my insights is like, don't go into fear about anything, you guys. If we go into fear, you could actually be the fearful side that that attaches or that connects with another you in another universe, and you're scaring the pieces off of that one.
Well, exactly. Now think about that. You've scared yourself. Now you've scared another you in a different version of you in a different universe, so on and so forth. Like I said, that you're looking in the mirror behind the mirror. Down the line, somewhere, that's got to actually take a toll. And maybe that's what a lot of people feel.
Exactly, and you know what? And simultaneously, Mark, if somebody gets really happy and gets some ahas and changes their life and really makes something amazing out of it, that also affects all the other yous and all the other universes. Seriously, doesn't this sound like Star Trek or science fiction? Like, oh my gosh! But look at how many things that we have in our lives today that once were called science fiction and now they're science fact.
Sure.
And
we're only going to learn more and more and more, which is why discussion of the paranormal is, quite frankly, not just interesting, it's also key. And we know from science that we can say, okay, no, that's not where that was going and that's not what that was. But at the end of the day, there are so many unanswered questions about our own bodies, about our little universe that's happening under our skin, than all the millions and billions and billions of questions that lie outside of our own being.
Oh my gosh, I mean, you start quantum physics, if people really look at what quantum physics is saying, it's mind-blowing. You know, they're actually, when they look at the physical body, you brought that up, you look at the physical body, you look at your skin under a microscope, and you see lots of cells, but the cells aren't even touching. You go into the cell, you see atoms and a lot of space, and then you go into the atom, and they find there's nothing solid to the atom. It's subatomic particles and a lot of space, and then they can't even find anything solid to the subatomic particles or string theory. It's like, and we're made of that. We're made of that. And basically, there's nothing solid to who we are. Now, that's mind-blowing right in itself, which means we shouldn't be aging, getting sick, or dying. There's nothing but energy and consciousness to who we are. So why are we getting sick or aging? It's like, because we believe in it. That's why, because we believe in it, and so we make that up.
There is a terrific movie. We do have to take a break here. We're going to go a little over 10 o'clock, folks, just so I can make up for the time that we had a technical snafu. So we're going to have Pamela for just a little bit after 10 o'clock, so that'll be awesome. And this summer I will be switching back to a 3-hour format, so that'll be even cooler for me because I love talking to all my guests. But, you know, when we talk about this in the, I want to say, mid-90s, and it's one of my favorite movies. It was a German movie called Run, Lola, Run. And I don't know if anybody out there has seen Run, Lola, Run, but you should check it out. It's subtitled, so for those of you who don't like subtitles, don't watch it. But it is about a girl, a woman rather, who has to play out her future, and it's 3 possible outcomes of what she might or might not do when her boyfriend gets in trouble with the police. So the whole movie is 3 different possibilities of what her day might end like. And check it out. It's very cool, and it actually has a lot to do with what we're talking about, not on the sense of, you know, infinite universe, but it's still cool because it's just an hour, maybe an hour and 40 minutes long of 3 different scenarios, 3 different choices, and infinite choices within those 3 main choices. It's really, really cool. If you like techno music, you'll dig it. Run, Lola, Run. Go check it out right now. My guest this evening here on The Edge of the Unknown, Pamela Oslie, and she is the author of what we're talking about tonight, Infinite You. We're talking about the multiverse right now, parallel universes. We've also been talking about auras this evening. Would love to hear from you. You can get in touch with me on the live chat room at allonebroadcast.com, 717-298-7460. That's the phone number to get on board. You can also shoot me a message at theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com. We've got some emails we got to get to. We've got plenty more coming up here on The Edge as we take you up until a little bit after 10 on a Sunday night. St. Patty's Day is tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of you are celebrating today. Hopefully you're home safe and sound and not in too bad a shape to get to work tomorrow if you have to go to work. I have to, so hey, what are you going to do? I made, as I mentioned earlier, my terribly delicious potato and leek soup and shepherd's pie for my beautiful wife, Mrs. Henry. And everybody out there, be safe. And we're going to get back to your questions and more commentary from Pamela right after this. Thanks again for kicking your week off or wrapping your week up with me here on the All One Broadcast Radio Network. It's The Edge of the Unknown. My name is Mark. We're back right after this.
Looking for the best in vintage clothing? Look no further than Vintage Wears Boutique at vintagewearsboutique.com. Women's classic jackets and coats, skirts and dresses, all just a click away. Check out the latest inventory online for pictures, sizing, and more. Have a particular item in mind you can't find anywhere else? Go to vintagewearsboutique.com. Still stumped? Try their personal shopper service and let them do the work. Find the best in vintage clothing at vintagewearsboutique.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us at vintagewears_ on Twitter, and see us on Pinterest and Tumblr. VintageWearsBoutique.com, where the past is your style.
Hey there, A1B listeners. This is Medium Julie MacDonald, host of Medium at Large. Join me Wednesday nights on All One Broadcast, where together with my guests, we journey into the many different worlds and expressions of spirit. Through mediumship, astrology, nature, indigenous technologies, alternate universes, otherworldly messengers, and much, much more. You just never know where we're going to land. So strap your seatbelts and tune in to Medium at Large on A1B. Listen, it's the only place to be.
For those interested in delving deep into the paranormal, why not look into the Paratech Store? Located at paratechstore.com, browsers will find the latest in investigative equipment, books, and more. Items go beyond technical equipment. Mojo bags, stone sets, and other curiosities await your exploration at the Paratech Store. paratechstore.com. Visit them today.
Greetings from All One Broadcast, the home of Channeling Love Radio. Do you sometimes feel like you need a little pick-me-up? A little more light in your life? Or maybe a little dash of that love vibe? Nicole Williamson, host of Channeling Love, will give you just that, plus so much more. So join us each Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on allonebroadcast.com for your dash of love.
Without chupacabras, there's nothing to talk about. Back to the edge of the unknown.
Oh, sure, there's much more to talk about outside of chupacabras, even though I love the idea of chupacabras and the discussion of chupacabras, which I'm sure we will talk about in a upcoming show of The Edge of the Unknown. But tonight we are talking with Pamala Oslie. She is the author of Infinite You. We're going to get right back to her, but I want to remind everybody, next week, a very special Edge of the Unknown. Medium Julie MacDonald will be my guest for a couple of hours while we beat each other up and talk a little bit about mediumship. I've got tons of questions for her, and I know she's going to have some really, really great answers to those questions. I was very proud and very happy to be on her show about a month ago, and I wanted to return the favor. And we're gonna explore into the idea and thoughts of mediumship and psychics, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody who listens to Julie on Wednesday nights here on the allonebroadcast.com radio network loves her. She also has her show on Monday evenings at 7 o'clock, Broken Wings Radio, which I couldn't remember earlier, and I know I'm going to get hell for that, I'm sure, before she actually comes on my show. But I want to get back into your questions and your comments here for Pam this evening, 717-298-7460. And again, you can check out her website, lifecolorscity.com. The book Infinite You is very interesting. It's a good read. It's pretty quick. You can get through it in a couple of days if you're a reader like I am. I read constantly. My wife and I were talking about that today. I want to ingest words and wisdom and interesting stories and interesting ways of looking at things. So if you're like me, you can get through it pretty fast. But there's a lot about teaching that is also in this book, and Pam is not just someone who writes a book and sends it out. She's talking about a little bit more development for the reader. Pam, talk a little bit about what you really want to do with this book and how people can learn from you, what you can teach them.
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, my goal has always been to support people being happier and more fulfilled in this lifetime. So when I've discovered that we have greater abilities that can add to that make us more expansive, like I said, full of compassion, more joyful, feel more freedom, feel more empowered in our lives, I have all these abilities, like I mentioned before, psychic, we're all becoming way more telepathic, being able to consciously go in and out of parallel universes the way we want to, talking to people on the other side. I mean, there's so many abilities that we have, and they're all useful. I mean, even telepathic for people that are out there going, I want love, and I can't find anybody to marry or to be in relationship with.
Sure.
You can use telepathy to talk to somebody in your future, to talk to somebody on the planet, even if you don't know who they are yet. So anyway, what I do in this book is I discuss each one of these abilities. I describe how you can do it. I show people step-by-step methods of how they can learn to develop these abilities themselves. I share my own experiences of how it works for me and how I've done it and examples. Then I give the quantum physics behind all these abilities to show why they're possible. I bring in the spiritual concepts behind why they're possible, and hopefully support people on all levels. So, if they want the science, they can do that. If they just want to learn how to do it, they can do that. If they just want to hear interesting stories, those are in there.
When we talk about folks who approach you and want to know, I mean, obviously tonight we've had some folks ring in and say, read my aura, tell me what you see. Have you had folks approach you to say, I'm in a situation based on my aura, what would you say I should do? And is it hard to do that? Because knowing that you're giving someone advice that might I don't want to say backfire, or you know what I mean? It's such a weird place to be, coming from me with it as a skeptic believer. Do you ever wrangle with the fact that I don't want to tell this person something because they're looking for an answer that might not be readily available to them? Does that make sense?
Well, here's the deal. I do private readings. I see 6 to 8 people a day.
Sure.
Plus I do this on my radio show and on other people's radio shows. I always emphasize free will.
Mm-hmm.
It's a person. I really believe it's your life. It's in your hands. You don't have to do anything I say.
Sure.
What I do is I tap into your soul or your higher self and get guidance from a deeper part of you. And usually what happens is people, when I tell them what's going on, it validates what they've already been feeling. It's like, I felt that deep inside, but I wasn't trusting myself, or I kind of knew that. And I use the aura as a tool. It's not the only thing that I do. You see, I can go way past that into, I can see past, present, future. I can see other lives.
Mm-hmm.
I can do all kinds of things. Once you get into expanded consciousness, you'd be amazed at how the different things you can do. So what I explain to people, it's like if I'm in a helicopter and I'm flying over and you're in a city street driving down the city, and I see where your car is, and I see that if you keep going ahead 2 or 3 blocks down the road, there's going to be a traffic jam. And if you're late for a meeting, I go, okay, look, you might want to turn left and go down a parallel street so you don't hit that traffic jam. That's what I do with people. But I always give them free will. I can't tell you how many people I've got. I have a lot of famous clients too, and I go, you might not want to marry that person because I see that there's going to be this issue here, and they've got past issues from this, and blah, blah, blah. And you'd be amazed at how many people go ahead and marry that person anyway, and then they come back to me 3 years later and go, I am in the ugliest divorce I could ever imagine. I need your help.
How difficult is it to do that when you actually have repeat clients or repeat people that you talk to, where you might have said, hey, you want to consider this, and even if they did it or they didn't, but when they come back, having to hear the sorrow or the unhappiness of any decision that they made, that's got to be pretty tough.
Well, thank you for acknowledging. It's really tough to hear people's problems all day long, and they don't talk to me. I do all the talking.
Sure.
They'll ask a question, but I'm like, oh my gosh, you're in so much pain. But if somebody, if I give them suggestions about how, not to do something and they do it, I don't ever judge people. They can come back to me a million times, and I'll start right from where they are. It's challenging. I had one girl come to me once, and I went, you have so much anger towards your father, you're carrying it in your body, because I know what causes cancer and illnesses, things like that. You're carrying so much anger towards your father that I'm looking at you in the future, and I'm seeing you have a strong probability of creating breast cancer. But if you do this and this and this, it won't develop. You will never get breast cancer. That you got to, I'm going to encourage you to do this, this, and this. She came back to me 4 years later, and she said, I didn't do anything you said, and now I have breast cancer. Will you please help me? What can we do about this?
Sure.
So we started from where she was. But it was really tough to see that she had that. The only one that was really tough, well, there's been a couple of them. I saw one girl that was she was getting involved with this one guy. And I went, oh, really bad feeling, I'm really going to advise against it. He's very violent, and I really get he's dangerous for you. Please get some counseling. Please don't get into this relationship. And she didn't believe me, and she didn't listen to me, and she got involved with this guy, and he killed her. He ended up killing her. That was like, but I also know that there's no such thing as death. She still exists. She's on the other side. She's fine. She's happy. It was tough on her family. But I know that she has free will, and I'm just going to trust that her soul knew what she was doing, even if her personality had to go through that.
No, that's rough. That is terribly rough.
That was a tough one.
717-298-7460. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're on the Edge of the Unknown on the All One Broadcast Radio Network with Pam Oslie. Who's this?
Hi, Mark. This is Dave from Lovejoy.
Dave, how you doing, brother?
Great. I'm glad the last week is over with.
Yeah, don't say that too fast, man.
I know. It's supposed to get bad again. I have a really interesting question for Pam.
Well, go ahead. You got the floor.
Good. We love interesting questions.
Pam, my big question is, do you believe in the Big Bang Theory? And next of all, you know that they say in the Big Bang Theory that the universe can only stretch so far and then it'll come back and implode. My main question is, and you're talking about how we're infinite, the universe is infinite, string theory, M theory. If this happens, would we have the same results where life would be reformed again, or would we get different results where there would be no more life as we know it? That is my question. I would love to hear your answer because I think you're a great guest. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, and I love that question, Dave. Thank you. So first of all, there are a lot of physicists out there that are questioning the Big Bang Theory. They believe there are multiple Big Bangs, that they're banging all the time. Well, that sounded bad, didn't it? That there's new universes being formed all the time. So they don't believe there's just one universe, and they believe there's multi-universes too. So that's number one, and I'm with that too. I believe that it's always creating. We're constantly creating new universes all the time. Now, if you believe, like I do, that there are parallel universes, and somebody goes, well, you know what, I think this universe is going to self-destruct, and we're all headed for it, and we're going to do World War III, and it's all going to, explode. I go, well, then you're in a parallel universe that could happen because that's what you believe in. But I don't happen to be in that one. I happen to be in a universe where I feel optimistic, everything's going to evolve, it's going to be awesome. So every possible outcome that could happen to our planet is out there, and you can align with any of them that you want. You align with whichever ones you believe in. So there's actually a universe out there where in World War II that Germany actually won the war. There's another one out there that the Bay of Pigs did not end well, and we actually had a nuclear war. But I don't happen to be in that universe because I don't believe in that one.
Sure.
So they all exist. Does that answer that?
I hope so. But I guess this is an interesting way to look at that too. Should we even give any credence or care with any paranormal activity that we might perceive that might be a result of a parallel universe? Because quite frankly, if it doesn't really have a direct impact on our lives, what's the point of paying attention to it?
Well, exactly. I mean, and we don't even have to pay attention to anything in this life that doesn't affect our, it's like turn the page, let it go. People get very attached to things.
Sure.
So, sometimes we get attached to other universes just out of fun, out of drama, or to learn something. And most people have their hands full with just staying in this one. My feeling is if we have all these abilities and all these things actually exist, then I want to know how we can take advantage of them to improve our lives. Just like if there are lots of different continents, it's like, okay, I want to go visit Italy, or I want to go visit Australia, New Zealand. I have the ability to do that now because I know they exist. So if I know there's parallel universes, I can change my life and go hang out in any of those if they're going to improve the quality of my life, or just for fun, or it makes it better, it makes it more interesting. In other words, we have no limits. And just like if there's other planets, at some point, yahoo, let's go to some other planets and see what they're like just for the adventure, or just to give us other places to live if we believe this planet's going to get overcrowded. It just gives us more ideas, more concepts, more freedom, more opportunities, more variety. So it's like, wow, it just expands our life.
Let's grab an email here from theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com. And again, everybody who is listening right now, you can always reach me at any time during the week. I respond to all of my emails, whether you're telling me that you hate me, the show sucks, or whatever. You will still get a personal response from me. And if you've got any show suggestions, would love to hear from you as well. Christine writes in about, let me grab this here over here. Okay, hang on. What about the interaction of angels or divine intervention? How does that work into the thought of an infinite universe? Christine, interesting question. Thank you for being on the edge.
Well, to me, whatever term you want to use, it's all divinity, it's all God, it's all, I mean, without getting religious on anybody, God is supposedly, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, which means presence everywhere. Mm-hmm. So to me, everything is divine expression. Everything is the mind of God or the mind of the universe or consciousness expanded. And so do I believe there's angels? Absolutely. Are there divine, guidance? Absolutely. They're in other dimensions or other realms, just like people that have crossed over. But they all just have their own jobs to do. I see now this is going to push a lot of people's buttons, but I don't feel like there are beings that are more, better than us. We're all divine beings. We're all magnificent, creative, from consciousness, from all that is, from God. Again, I don't want to get religious on people.
Sure.
So we're all amazing. The angels aren't better than or worse than who we are. They just have different jobs than what we're doing. They've chosen a different experience than what we have. But we can still ask for guidance from, you want to call them spirit guides or beings that are in another realm or whatever term you want to use. It's like it's a more expansive universe.
This is really weird. No, what a great conversation and good answer to a cool question. This is really odd. And speaking of the way things work out, I didn't even realize it, but March 30th, my guest, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is B. Divine, who wrote Angelic Guidance. So we're going to be talking about angels. The following week is Adam Bly, who is the paradise of demonology and exorcism. We've got angels and demons back to back. Holy cat. I mean, we haven't even talked about synchronicity or just the idea of silly things like that this evening, but what the heck? I mean, what a wonderful world that we live in where we don't have all the answers, and if we think we do, man, we're really in trouble.
Well, because we keep expanding. We're expanding our consciousness. We learn more. We evolve. We create. I believe, for those of you that are out there that want to talk more about, the spiritual whatever, if we were actually created in the image of God or divine presence, whatever, God, divine presence, is a creative source. It's creator. So if we were created in that image, we're creators also. So we're creating all the time. We're creating our own movies. We're creating our own experiences. Whatever we believe in is what we're going to experience and create in this lifetime. So if people believe in demons, they're going to create and experience demons. For people that believe in angels, they're going to create and experience angels. Now, does that mean none of it really exists? Well, it's all the same. It all exists, and none of it really does. It's all consciousness, and we're making it up. We're creating, or God is creating as God goes.
Gosh, it's hard to wrap your head around, especially, I have to get back to work this week, and I have this show on Sunday night, but I want to expand on it so much, but at the same time, I realize maybe it's my personality, maybe it's my aura telling me, as much as I want to get to the top of that hill as fast as I can, there's something in me that says, slow down, you're going to learn it on a pace outside of your own desire, outside of what you really want to do, and you're going to get there when you get there.
Yeah, Yeah, well, you know what, and there's, as soon as you get to that hill, there's always going to be another hill. So, there's those of us that are always in a hurry to get someplace, and then you get there and you go, I have a friend that goes, there's really no center. Wherever you are, you're in the center of the universe, because there's always going to be expansion on all sides of you. So where is it that you think you're going, other than to have the experience? To have the experience. And that's a whole other conversation when people feel like we evolve, we learn, and it's sequential, but we're basically infinite beings, so we're expanding in all directions, not linear. Like, we experience life on this plane as this minute, and then this minute, and then this minute, and we talk linear, and it's past, present, future. But if you start listening to quantum physics, that's why I get so excited about quantum physics, because to me it's coming together with spirituality. That it's like time is not sequential. Everything already exists right now, and we're just choosing to have whatever experiences we want. So there's nothing we have to learn. There's nothing we have to evolve to reach a higher plane. It's like, well, you can have that experience if you want, but you're already a divine being. You already knew everything, and now you swallowed everything up or got really small in consciousness so you could have this experience. It's like, oh, well, get the joy out of this. People are like, I got to get off the planet. The planet's awful. I want to go back to heaven. I'm like, yeah, but this place is very cool. You chose to come here. You might as well have the full experience here, and here's a way to make it more fun instead of like hell on earth.
We've got a couple minutes left, and I want to go back to myself. I'll be selfish and do this. We talked about my aura, and we talked about Craig's aura, which is actually very similar to mine, violet and yellow. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, after listening to you for the last 2 hours, Pam, is when we say that we want to take on a lot of things and sometimes we get scatterbrained, is it our own doing, or is it our inability to tell others who want those projects to happen, no, I can't do that, but it's in our nature to say, yeah, what the hell, let's go forward with these 15 things, knowing full well only 5 of them can get done.
Well, it's the way you are. Not everybody's like that. You
Sure.
will never get a tan doing that. Tans are very sequential and lineal. That's good. I'm making up my own words now too. Linear. They're very practical, and they take step 1 and then step 2 and then step 3. And you can't even rush them to go, well, talk to me about step 20. They go, wait, I haven't told you about 3 and 4 and 5. So those colors do not take on a lot of projects. That's a violet's personality, and violets think everybody's like that. And I go, oh, no, they're not. Mark, tans just want one thing at a time. Don't pressure them. Don't speed them up. And even when they talk to you and tell their story, they're going to tell you every detail that happened and the order that it happened, because they like to lay the foundation and explain everything. And the violet will go, come on, just tell me the big picture, what eventually happened. And the blue will go, I don't care about the facts. I just want to know how you felt. How did that make you feel? And oranges are like, I don't have time for this. I'm just going to go jump out of airplanes. I don't even want to hear your story, okay? I got adventures to do. So they're all different personalities, which why it's helpful to understand the different aura colors, so that, one, it validates who you are, so you don't think that you're crazy, and gives you permission to be who you are. And 2, it helps us understand other people. Instead of running around going, why can't you think more like me? What is wrong with you? This is how I would do it. It's like, well, they're a lavender, or they're a crystal. They don't think like you. They process life differently.
And I don't even think I could ever be a tan because I'm Irish, and it's just not the way it works with me. So
Right.
I have to wear SPF 1000 when I go outside. It's just, sadly, I can't soak up the sun like everybody else can. But maybe my inner side might eventually get to be more of a tan rather than the intense person that I am most of the time. Who knows? But it's always fun to explore and to talk about this sort of thing, and I've had a blast talking with you about it tonight, Pam.
Well, this was fun, Mark. I really appreciate you letting us talk about so many different topics. Thank you so much.
Well, we are going to have to have you back, as I mentioned during one of the breaks. If you are willing to, down the line, I've got your numbers, you've got my number. I would love to have you back on and talk a little bit more about parallel universes and talk a little bit more about quantum physics. If you are so willing to do so, you are more than welcome to be on the Edge of the Unknown.
I love doing that kind of stuff. And, hey, it scares me when you go, hey, I got your number.
So you said that before. I know where you are. See, you said Santa Barbara.
I got your number. That's right. Absolutely. I love talking about this, so thank you very much for wanting me to come back on. You see how excited I get about it, right? Because it just makes life so much more interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we can end the creeper factor, I'm having my kitchen redone, so I don't have the money to pay for airfare to get out to where you are. So you're safe. No worries. Don't worry about it.
No, we'll just start doing we got to start doing teleportation. Come on.
Right. Oh, boy, wouldn't that be great? No, I don't even want to think about that. No, I'm happy with my car for now.
Okay, or a plane.
Planes are fine. Planes, whatever. Anything that I can handle.
Planes that don't disappear. Planes that actually take off and land someplace.
I didn't even bring that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Hey.
Oh, sorry. And on a happier note, spring is coming. Look at spring is this week. Yay!
Ooh,
better weather. Yay!
We hope so.
Have some fun.
We hope so. Well, hang on the line. I want to just talk to you for a couple of seconds after we wrap up the show here. Everybody out there, thank you so much. If we didn't get to your questions, I will forward them to Pam, and if you've given me a decent email address, she will be able to respond to you there. And again, it's been a blast being your host for Paranormal Talk here on a Sunday evening on the Edge of the Unknown. Pamela Oslie, check out her book, Infinite You. You can find it at lifecolorscity.com, and much more about her as well as her other book, Life Colors, Love Colors, and Make Your Dreams Come True. There's lots more to explore with Pam when you go to her website over there. And hey, as I mentioned before, if you've got a suggestion for this show and you want to get in touch with me, feel free to do so at any time. theedgeoftheunknown@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook, Edge of the Unknown Radio Show. Shoot me a message. I will respond to you. It has been a blast. If you are wrapping up your early St. Paddy's Day festivities, be safe, take care of yourself, take care of those around you. And again, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, so you can be happy to revel in the wonderfulness of Irish food, as I'm going to do right after I get off the show. I'm going back up to my shepherd's pie that I made earlier tonight. We will see you again next week here on the Edge of the Unknown. My guest, Julie MacDonald. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want to remind everybody, on March 30th, Be Divine is going to be on, talking about angels and angelic guidance. Paradise of Demonology and Exorcism, Adam Bly, will be up for the first week of April. And then we're going to come back to the Western New York area. Niagara Falls Paranormal will be my guests on the Edge of the Unknown. Everybody, have a great week. Thanks again for sticking around with me and staying up a little bit late on a Sunday evening talking about the paranormal. And remember, when you stop questioning, you've stopped thinking. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time here on the Edge of the Unknown.